welcome Red Spotters to another After Dark. We just got out of Spider-Man Far From Home. Before I spill on my stuff, I'm dying to know what the people opposite of me
No, you're
thought
going first,
first.
Kyle.
I liked it.
Okay.
I really liked it. Peter, Alexis, you go. I'm dying to know what you think of this, and then I'll spiel into my bit.
Go ahead, Alexis.
Eh.
His face.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. There was a little 10% chunk of the film that I thought was a 10 out of 10.
And what?
And I won't spoil it. But when we get to spoilers, I want to see if you guys can guess which part of the film
I
I'm
already
talking
know
about.
what it is.
Okay. If you know me, then you know. It's late. I haven't slept in 24 hours. Fuck the world. So this little 10% chunk, I thought was a 10 out of 10. The
Okay.
rest, it was okay. I enjoyed myself. Certain jokes made me laugh. One joke in particular I thought was real funny. It was a recurring gag that I thought, especially with this kind of world, I thought was really well done. Yeah. Overall, I enjoyed it, but like, again, see, and I told this to Alexis. This is why I like to read the spoilers, because all the reviews were saying best Spider-Man yet, and if I had come in with that anticipation, I'd be pretty fucking like pissed or disappointed. But I went in knowing like, those reviews are probably full of shit. You know, from what I read from the spoilers, and it's like,
Well,
okay,
can we agree on one thing right now?
it
I
was,
think
it
for
was good.
regardless of the quality of the films that we've seen, especially in the past year or so, right? I think in terms of a lot of the reviews, quote unquote, from a lot of these, outlets and industries and critics, whether it be initial reactions or full on reviews, I think it's fair to say that June, sorry. Usually we come out a little less hot than most of them.
It's actually July now.
Oh fuck it is. So
What do you mean a little less? Oh yeah, that's true.
we're not as high on a lot of these movies as a lot of the reviews. I mean, we end up liking most of them, I think. So
You know, as much as some people like to paint me as negative, I think I've liked every film I've seen this summer.
I and to back up on that, look, I said in terms of overall how I'm feeling right now,
Yeah.
but it is an enjoyable movie.
It's an enjoyable.
I had
film.
fun. Overall, solid, I guess. Okay, a lot of parts. Some parts that shined. And we're going to get into them right now. But overall, it's an MCU movie.
Okay, I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I think that everything that I was desiring from a Spider-Man sequel, like in terms of like live action, they delivered. Again, we'll get into the spoilers. One part in particular was spoiled to me, thanks to the internet, but thanks to that spoiler,
Was it Tumblr?
no,
For once.
it was the Instagram. But there was one spoiler that made me more excited for this film, and according to the reaction,
Fucking audience.
the audience went ballistic. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I was sensing things were off. Again, I'll get into spoilers. But in terms of like a character beat.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So
yeah, you could tell.
So I thought that was like, okay, when are they gonna? Yep, they did that. I really like the chemistry between Tom Holland and Zendaya for when they were on screen. I like Tom Holland really stepped it up in terms of like his acting chops. And it's nice to see him progress as an actor throughout these MCU films.
Well, they're used to. I mean, they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that this strongly sets up the future going on in terms of like what's homebound on Earth in the MCU. Um, right now, I care about the Spider-Man movies more than all the other things that are going on, with the exception of Guardians. Um, but yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. All the stuff that I wanted to happen in the movie happened, and the action leading up to moments really did it. I don't know if it's late. If it's
It's
because it's
late. Let's just be real. I
if
think
it's
all of us
because
are a little bit like.
if it's because it's late.
It's later than what
It's
we
later than
usually go
yeah.
to.
Because
It's
we
not
usually
even late. It's early now.
it's well, if we're
Yeah,
gonna
we
get
do.
technical,
We're old men. We usually go to the movies at 7 o'clock, and we went to this midnight screening. We're recording this at what time is it? Two?
yeah,
Almost 3.
Verging
It's
3.
2:47.
Okay. So
Usually
just
we
keep that
go to
in
the
mind.
7 o'clock screenings, but apparently those don't exist here. Um, so
9's usually pushing it for us.
yeah, we went to the 12 o'clock screening. Yeah, and
And let's
it's
just say some of us walked in with horrible attitudes. Yeah, in general, because they were tired, and then those trailers didn't really help.
Yeah, those.
I
trailers
was
are
in a
shit.
chipper mood. Talk
Mhm.
for yourselves, gentlemen. But anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed Spider-Man: Far From Home. I don't know where it ranks in the Spider-Man uh, pathos or whatever. So it has to age on me. But I really liked it. I really liked it. Spoilers. Let's talk about spoilers. So the 10%. Alexis and I are gonna guess what Peter is talking about. And then we'll see if we're correct. Or as MJ likes to say, 65% of a hunch. Um, all the weird shit with Quentin Beck.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, all right. Now, okay, Peter, I want to because you and I have a more extensive history in terms of like Spider-Man, and I want to know what your start was with Quentin Beck. Like, where did you like fall
I
into
never
like the
knew Quentin Beck. I
the
knew
Mysterio,
Mysterio.
the Mysterio of it all, like
The cartoons. I think.
the cartoons? Okay. You were introduced in the cartoons. I was introduced in the Spider-Man 2 video game.
Um,
And that's where I was like, "Oh, Mysterio, this is that character." And the way that the way that the first wave, I guess, of weird shit that happened, I felt like I was playing that level because he was like, throughout the level, Mysterio is constantly tantalizing and
he taunts him.
taunts Peter Parker throughout the whole entire thing. And I think that it really meshed well. And I saw the cartoons after the whole Raimi Spider-Man deal, and I knew him right there, and he really felt like Mysterio in those bits. Like, I kind of wish that they went like full on with it, like throughout the entire movie. But I guess in terms of like character point with him and Peter Parker, I guess it fits. It's just I wish there was more like weird liberties with it.
Off the top of my head, to quickly touch on what you're saying at this moment, it could have been a lot weirder. Um,
Mhm.
those that Mysterio stuff. Do you guys overall like how Mysterio was handled in this movie?
There's one thing, and I told you this before I even saw the
You
movie.
didn't tell me what it was.
I didn't tell you what it was. And this pisses me. I'm done. I'm tired of this shit. For the entire MCU, they keep fucking doing this. And I think I've brought it up so many times where it's a crutch they lean on with their villains to give them layers or whatever. It's either the hero or the hero's mentor figure betrayed the villain in the past, and now the villain is coming back for revenge. Because we haven't seen that in Thor or all the other Iron Mans.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, and it's like Black Panther. Like we're constantly getting this same setup for a villain, like either the hero or the hero's mentor figure fucked over the villain, and then
The same shit happened to Ant-Man and the Wasp.
yeah, like it just keeps, and I'm done. Like it's you've used that trope far too long, and it sucks because everything else about this Quentin Beck or the Mysterio character was actually pretty darn good. Like the fact that he's very theatrical
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
all about putting on a show.
Like he's like he's having like his assistant like
Yeah.
steam his cape and everything like that. He's like, make sure it's pristine. I might meet the queen. You know.
And like it really is just like a fucked up individual with a massive ego. That kind of, and I wish they would have just had that and removed all the Stark shit. Like, oh my god, I'm like after Endgame, I was like, yeah, Tony Stark, cool. I'm done with. Oh my god, I got so freaking annoyed of Tony Stark throughout this film. They kept shoving him in our face, and it's like, yeah,
Well,
I
first
get
spoiler:
it.
there's no Tony Stark scene.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
I
no
know.
Robert Downey Jr. in this movie. I know some people were speculating. You thought it might be a little bit of a cameo by him in this movie.
Maybe like a hologram or something
But Tony
like that.
Stark's
But
shadow looms large in this movie throughout.
Yeah.
And I noticed it was annoying you very early on.
No, it was so annoying. Like
all
put
the
it this way.
murals and shit like that, and the imagery that he was around.
He actually came out in Spider-Man: Homecoming, and I thought that was less aggressive than this film. Like, holy shit, we get it.
They had an Iron Man to come out of the grave.
That part was the best part.
Yeah,
that
I
was
like
the
that.
best part. That was awesome. I really like that. But everything else, it's like Stark this, Stark, like literally, everyone's painted pictures of him everywhere, and da 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 da. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, have one or two scenes where like in the beginning when he tried to escape, and then he turns and he sees his mural.
But
like, okay, yeah, fine. But like
the thing that's unfortunate about this is that we've already like if they just like showed this movie right off the bat with Endgame and they showed this movie right after that, then maybe we'll feel that way. But
still be annoying.
But I think like in terms of like the mourning period with Tony Stark as a character, we already did that a couple of months back.
Well, yeah.
Are you still mourning?
No, well, I'm not going to go anywhere with that. Just go.
Okay. The mourning period is already over. You know, now it's time for to accept that he's dead and all that stuff. And it's just like it's like constantly putting like dead loved ones picture right there and like hammering in your head.
It just
kind of
felt
thing.
real cheap. I would say a lot of it. Some of it worked, but then some of it is just like, yeah, like you said, just kept hammering it in. Like, we get it.
Like what Grace Randolph said about Toy Story 4, always looking for the tearjerker moments. This movie, like, I think that with all the crazy shit that they did with, the I guess illusion aspects of that, that really pushed it because then I was like, oh, we've never seen something like this in the MCU before where, somebody's like using illusions and all that stuff. We kind of saw it, but not to the extent of this movie in Doctor Strange where they went into like the different realms. There's a bunch of mirrors everywhere. I like the way that they played with imagery. The Iron Man coming out of the grave, amazing imagery and the skull and everything like that. I really liked.
My one negative about the whole Quentin Beck thing, if I can just say real quick, I agree with you, Peter. They probably, I don't feel as angry about it as you do about the whole Star connection, but when you do point it out like that, and when you really think about all the different times that they've pulled that same switcheroo, I'm done with it. Beyond done with it. But I don't know what it is about, and I don't want to, criticize Gyllenhaal's performance. I thought it was great, but I don't know. I guess overall, I'm not so happy with what they ended up doing with him. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I needed more of him. I don't know.
I ended up liking it more than I thought I would. If anything, I wanted him to go a little bit more goofier and over the top.
That's what I was wanting.
Like a drama, like a stage diva, basically. Because that's basically like just have him someone that's just desperate for attention,
Mm-hmm.
just like a psychopath that's desperate for attention. Like I think all that
We should
works.
save the thing that happens at the end for the very end. If you
Oh,
give it,
after the
yeah,
mid
because that
credits, yeah, that's
that's
fine.
a whole different
Hmm.
conversation about what's going to happen with that.
Okay.
I think my main takeaway right now about the movie is, and we're going to get into the reasons as to why we feel that way, but right now I'm not so enthralled with this particular film as much as I was with Homecoming, um, which is interesting to say. I don't know what it is, but and maybe it was the reasons that you pointed out, Peter, but this movie kind of really opened shaky for me. I don't know what it was, but it took a little bit of time for it to kind of like settle. I don't know, maybe it opened too fast out of the gate, but there's something about this movie that I wasn't feeling a kind of magic that I did with Homecoming, at least the first time that I saw it.
Hmm.
Although,
That was your first. Well, not no, not
no,
true. No, it
theatrically
wasn't.
speaking, maybe.
Theatrically.
But everything with Tom Holland, everything with him and Zendaya, I thought worked. It,
I thought they were a little too like. I'm an awkward guy. Oh, and I'm an awkward girl
mm-hmm,
too. I just feel like every scene of them together was just that.
mm-hmm,
And maybe if there was more scenes of like MJ acting normal
yeah.
or normal for her character at least, it would be like okay, so they're
I feel that's gonna have to come, right? You know, we're gonna have more with her
yeah.
character. I thought it worked. There was a little part of me that was feeling, when I was watching those
Mhm.
scenes while they were, acted brilliantly. If maybe this was a tad bit forced, a tad bit rushed.
The awkwardness was a little too much. Like I actually think they had more chemistry in the first one because they were both just acting like normal characters around each other. And I totally get they need to be awkward around each other and stuff, but there has to be like a point in the movie where they just kind of get comfortable with each other, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it drops a little and they just connect. And that never happened in the entire film. Like not like the entire time it's just like
Yeah.
and it's like it's cutesy and fun, but there has to be a point where I'm like, okay, I want them to be together, or at least I see why,
Right. Right.
because they connect in some way, but that doesn't happen. Um,
Um.
and yeah, the movie just starts with him like, I really like MJ, and it's like, really?
Thank you. I thought I was the only one that was thinking that too, because I
I
don't
was,
remember a single instance in
there
Homecoming where he
wasn't
liked her,
no.
in that way, and then it opens with him like,
I
"Oh, I
really,
like
really
her."
like her, and it's like, well, okay, I get it. Like I'll go with it, but it
Yeah.
just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's and again, for the most part, it worked. I like them together. I don't mean to be overly critical about it, but it just something about it didn't necessarily connect, especially when you just point out that off the bat he already like starts off liking her. I would have liked to have seen maybe him just see him realize that he has feelings for her and why he likes her so much
I
instead of it being right out of the gate.
I think what
Yeah, I
okay.
would agree with
I
that.
think what would have made it like a more tighter right is there was a character named Brad, I think. I think if you cut out his little
Oh, that was kind of a
like
waste.
F plot or something like that,
Yeah.
if they cut that out and focused in and honed in on Peter and MJ's relationship, I think that would have been a more tighter right.
I think the whole point of him was just to introduce the drones. Like the whole
Yeah.
thing with the I think that entire thing was just an elaborate setup so that the audience learns what the drones are and what the glasses do.
But I think but I
Just
think
enough.
with there could be a different way. He puts on the glasses. He says one word.
I
He
agree it could be
he's
different. But
he
I'm saying
says
that's
one
why I
word.
think they did it.
He says one word wrong or something like that. Like because he's constantly because he's very manic. With his
Mhm.
words and everything like that. He could have said a word wrong, and that could have been it. And then the drones start coming in. That could have been your introduction to drones without introducing another character or F plot or anything like that. Without that happening.
I don't mean to beat this into a dead horse, but I just, normally I wouldn't be the one to, draw a comparison to this, but it's no secret to all of us here that we all love the Raimi Spider-Man films. Those are
Yeah.
our favorite films, of Spider-Man sort. And part of why I thought the DNA of those films was so successful was because of the relationship between Peter Parker with Mary Jane, obviously. And I don't know what I'm trying to think of a moment where Peter just actually sits down, actually explains what it is about. Like, does he ever say why he likes
He says,
MJ
"Oh,
here?
she's cool in a really weird way," and da da da.
And like, I don't mean to be the guy that says, well, in the Raimi movies it was done better this way, but that relationship was so there were
It's off really awkward, but then there are moments where like that awkwardness drops a little
it's
bit,
fleshed out and it's
and they're able to connect as
yeah,
human beings.
yeah.
And I had kind of wanted.
And I don't want to be critical because overall I do like the pairing. I like the actors together.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
good, and I can see it going off in really spectacular places if it's handled well in the future. But for this movie, something about it just felt just a little bit too rushed about that, But maybe it's just me. What else do we got here?
Like there's a moment in the Raimi movies where in the first one you start to see the spark happen between the two
feel that happen.
in the scene where he just beat up he got in that fight with Flash Thompson in the first one, and he got home and she's saying you look different, I hunch, and she said don't, and that was like where the spark happened between the two of them
right. But
as
the
people.
scene that comes to mind is when I think it's Harry who's in the hospital. Is that who? No, it's Aunt May who's in the hospital.
Yeah, in the hospital.
And then there's a moment between Peter and Mary Jane. He's telling her, this wonderful, wonderful story about something. I can't remember what it is, but that was great scene. But yeah, just to point that out there. I'm not going to harp on it overly about that, but yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I mentioned earlier that there was a character beat in the film where I thought that it was a little. I was like, okay, this is very out of character for this character to
Talking
be
about
in.
Nick Fury?
And Nick Fury.
Yeah, I agreed.
He did not act like Nick Fury. He would have been on top of that shit from he would have sensed the bullshit for Quantum
This is where I got so confused with that because I definitely felt that in several moments. That's not Nick Fury.
He definitely felt like someone acting like Nick Fury, which is
Yeah.
probably really great job writing and acting for
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, that's right.
And now Ben Mendelsohn.
No, I know.
At the end, but they did do a good job because it's not like he acts exactly like him.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's like, oh, that came out of nowhere. With this one, it's like, it felt like it wasn't.
What moment sticks out to you about when you realize, okay, this is not Nick Fury. This doesn't feel like Nick Fury.
I don't think it's like what moment particularly.
But when did you begin to feel that way?
From the very beginning, because Nick Fury,
the way he talks, it's like,
and also like Nick Fury, he would have been on top of Quentin Beck's bullshit.
Yeah, I gotta be honest.
It
really felt until things happened toward the end. It almost felt like it almost looked as if Sam Jackson didn't care anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But
Yeah.
it ended up being that it was either at points it was a hologram, or at one point it was a hologram, and then another point it was supposed to be Kalos.
Yeah.
Acting, which okay, I need you to explain it to me. What happened there? What was the point of that?
Oh,
Kalos being Nick Fury.
Okay, so
just to show interconnected. I don't know.
I think I know.
I
what,
thought it was cool. It was nice, but
I don't know.
okay, I think
Just to
what
show,
the main-
hey, the scrolls are around.
I think the main point of that was to in case Nick Fury wanted to take some time off, he's
in space.
He has
right?
options. Yeah.
Maybe that connects to Captain Marvel too.
Maybe. But I think that in case anything happens, because maybe he might be going on to some space missions with
It
Carol.
looked like he was on vacation.
I know
Yeah.
he's on vacation, but in case of anything happens on
He kind of
Earth,
died and came back.
he needs
Several times.
yeah, several times.
I will say overall, was gonna ask you, what did you guys think about the humor?
That's another issue for me.
Okay.
I
It
feel
worked.
overall, I think it worked, but I noticed that there were some moments where it was a little bit hit or miss for me. I don't know if you felt that way.
It worked 70% of the time for me.
The one joke that made me laugh was the night monkey thing,
Name.
because that's the kind of joke you can only do if you're like in this world where superheroes are just sort of a normal occurrence. So you're like, oh yeah, that's the new superhero, and everyone's just like, yeah, okay,
Night
night
monkey.
monkey, okay. And at first it seems like a throwaway, like stupid joke,
Right.
but then the way it keeps coming back and being reincorporated
Like,
is funny, and every time it came back, it made me laugh.
Yeah.
So
And then when they were in the Netherlands, and he was in a Peter Parker was in the jail cell, and then he was like trying to get out, and then he saw the guard wearing the costume. He was like, oh yeah,
night monkey,
Night monkey.
like overnight, it just became this new hero over in
Because
Europe.
that's the world they live in now.
Yeah, that's why it works.
It's also funny like how it's like social media and like news spreads fast. And,
this.
what do you think about the action in this movie?
It's fine. The action is fine. It's fine.
Alexis,
It's really forgettable.
I'm sorry, I can't think of a single set piece in this movie that I
The set
particularly.
piece I remembered and loved was the illusions. That's
Okay. But beside that,
the main illusion I'm talking about.
right. That I think is the most of the movie. I don't honestly.
The action?
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it's things I've seen already several times. I mean, again, one of the aspects that I took away from some of the reviews was that this was one of the best Spider-Man films in terms of action, and I'm like, no.
Really?
Yeah, some of them went on and said that. But it after a while, I don't know if maybe again it's late, but I'm like, okay, here we go. Here's another set piece.
In the illusion thing, when he was holding MJ, I was thinking of who will you choose, Spider-Man? The children or your lover? Choose. So
Yeah. See, that part was the most memorable and the most fun. I was like, ooh, this is straight up Mysterio bullshit.
Yeah.
I love it. It's awesome. But then everything else, like in the third act, he's just shooting drones with his webs, and it's like, kind of boring. Like, I really wish they would have brought back that illusion stuff. Like, there was only one big scene with it.
Yeah,
and then that was it.
yeah.
I thought the third act would be a lot of fun, because you have all big drones, he's fighting through the illusions. Like, he's going through that maze, but now he's webbing and destroying the drones. And there was like 5 seconds of that, but it's like, the rest of it is just like, destroy drone, kind of boring. And then the earlier action scenes, I kind of forgettable. I don't know, like they're fine. They're fine. I don't know. I think the other Spider-Man films action scenes are better and more memorable, including Into the Spider-Verse. Not the freaking amazing ones though. Fuck them.
This movie's better than those, right?
Oh, no question.
God, yeah.
No question. There's a lot of stuff happens in this movie that I thought was, reasonably good. At the end of the day, I don't know, maybe it's late, but there were moments where I'm thinking of, while I do want to see the continuation of Peter Parker's story, I'm thinking like, wow, how many more of these movies can I take before I just lose interest?
Well, like I was telling you before seeing the movie, I love Spider-Man. I love him. The character itself. And the MCU Spider-Man is very much decidedly light. They're very light films. They have nowhere near just the heart and emotion that those other films
I wish
do.
they would lean into that. I mean,
Yeah, like that's kind of the big selling point of Spider-Man as a character, and they always just seem to lightly touch on those kinds of stuff and then just pull back. and do humor and then action, and then that's it. And that's like,
What's up, danger? I think it's kind of hard because this is coming like right after Into the Spider Verse. Like in terms of like
oh yeah,
Spider Man, like
that's true.
it's very
That was the first
difficult.
Spider-Man film I felt rivaled those Raimi films,
Like
and I didn't think that was possible for me because I'm
A
a
lot of people
fanboy
thought it
bitch.
exceeded those Raimi films.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not even gonna argue with them because it's like they're very close. Like there's kind of no point in arguing
I
that.
mean, Into the Spider Verse for me is my third favorite Spider Man film, and it really exceeded everything that Spider-Man is, should, represents.
Okay,
Um,
so what happens now? What the fuck was that ending?
Oh, the freaking the
What
after credit scene you
what
want to talk
happened
about?
there? Like what's the implication to that?
okay, this is the part that got spoiled for me.
Okay.
Oh really? I mean,
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons walking in the red carpet wasn't spoiler enough.
No, I knew. I was like, oh, he's there. Okay, okay, all right.
He looked so weird though.
Because he didn't. He didn't have like the hair.
He had like a bald, but then
He
it
had the
looks weird with
mustache.
the mustache.
So it was what's his
J.
name?
Jonah
J.
B.
Jonah.
Jameson.
Okay.
J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah, that's him. And again, like the whole like everyone finding out about his secret identity. The MCU like secret identities kind of mean nothing.
Yeah.
Again, if it was like
But to a high school kid, I'm assuming that would mean a lot, right?
Yeah, I guess it is interesting to see what kind of direction they would take.
Because that's never happened
another
before.
thing that pisses me off. No Osborns. The leaks were wrong. There was no hint of the Osborns, which I just want a Green Goblin back.
It doesn't seem that they're gonna go that way.
That sucks. Oh well. But yeah, I don't know what they would.
Well, that's
Direction
kind of
they
like
would
the
go.
direction that's next, because to my mind, we haven't seen a Spider-Man film where the whole world now knows the identity of Peter Parker
Yeah.
is Spider-Man. So that's interesting.
I mean, the only time like it ever happened, like
Into the Spider-Verse when he
was
died.
no was
Civil.
Civil War.
But that's the
yeah.
comics. But well, I guess that's my thing too. It's because that does seem like a big thing, and there's a lot of places you can go with that. But the last two films have been very light and fluffy, so I would assume the next film would be too. So I'm not. That would lead me to believe the ramifications would not be as dire, as they
Mhm.
could be. It would still be fairly light and fluffy affair. I don't know.
Unless they do.
I'm not
I mean,
saying
it's
it's
way.
gonna be like an R-rated dark Batman film.
It's way.
something like
I
that,
think
but-
it's way too early to like judge the cusp of what that whole thing means.
Well, remember Homecoming when it's like Aunt May found out he was Spider-Man? That didn't mean shit.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it's
true.
light and fluffy, so she's just like, "Oh, okay, you're Spider-Man."
She's exploiting her nephew for photo ops. But yeah, what do you think about the whole Happy Hogan? Aunt
I
May
liked Happy
stuff?
Hogan in the film. Every time he showed up, I think he did a good job. I enjoy his character a lot.
I really do, and I'm glad that they found a space for him after the Iron Man story was over. Good for Jon Favreau.
Yeah,
Well, struggle of life, right?
I like. Well, I liked when he was talking with Parker in the plane, and he said that Tony messed up a lot, and the one thing that he knows he didn't mess up on was you, and I felt that.
Yeah, that was probably the best
Mhm.
emotional moment I think of the film. I think that was a good speech, and it's also because that's true. Like you've seen all the Iron Man movies, he made a lot of
Ultron.
mistakes. Half the time he's full of shit.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, so you know he was far from a perfect individual.
I love the little touch of
So,
the look that he gave him while he was tinkering with all the stuff.
Yeah,
that
with
was so on the nose, but I was like, okay, okay,
like
this
he's
is
like
cute.
It
looking
worked
at
for
like
me.
a little Tony Stark kind of thing. Um, but back at
But yeah, that's another thing where it's like they hammer it so hard. Like, yeah, Tony, the next Iron Man, and I know that like the whole point of the film is like, don't be the next Iron Man, be the best you. You know, or I got the point, but it's just like pull it back a little bit, please. We get it. Iron Man made you a lot of money.
practice the art of subtlety.
Yeah, I think I just wanted it to be a little bit more subtle.
Um, going back to the J. Jonah B.
Hold on a minute.
Jameson.
Nobody questions the fact that Stark Industries has like a satellite full of drones.
They just no.
Okay, just go on.
You know that world they live in.
Okay.
Come on. Now.
Okay.
Back to the whole J.K. Simmons of it all. What
It
do
is
you,
funny they go from Iron Man 2 to him holding a public hearing for his one little Iron Man suit to now, oh yeah, he just has a fucking giant satellite full of drones that he can deploy at any moment. Yeah. And it's in the hands of a 16-year-old kid. Yeah, yeah, why not?
Sure, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. I mean, Tony Stark gave him that, so why not? J.K. Simmons is gonna be he's obviously gonna be like the thing in the next Spider-Man movies. What do you think about this new incarnation? Because they did something similar to that, to what he is in the PS4 game.
Okay.
Didn't the font look a lot like InfoWars to you? The Daily Bugle, next wherever it was.
Well, I think they said that the Daily Bugle wasn't a reputable source.
Oh, okay.
They said like I don't know if it's like in this universe it's like an Alex Jones or something like that. Which to be fair, that's kind of a perfect fit. Like
Yeah,
it, that does like yeah, I absolutely can see that. So if they go with that angle, I think that would be cool. That would be fun.
in the game, the Daily Bugle is a radio show.
Oh, see, that's a little outdated though, like radio show.
Radio show, and it's like it's constantly playing in Peter's ear, like for updates and stuff like that, and you could hear J. Jonah B. Jameson.
A podcast now. There's something hip and new.
He
Radio.
he's like constantly like saying, you know, Spider-Man this, Spider-Man that. So I like this like, you know, update, because you can't go back to newspapers. Let's face it, newspapers are like kind of a thing of the past now.
Okay, so both of you knew that was going to happen, right?
I knew.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't read, but I saw it coming a mile away.
Mhm.
So,
Well, like whenever people were like, "Oh my god, that mid-credit scene! Oh my god," and it's like, okay, again, that's something where it's like I understand why other people think it's like this big giant
Uh-huh.
like earth-shattering thing, but it's just kind of I don't see it that way.
But again, like no other person could play him than J.K. Simmons.
Well, I'm including that and also the fact that they reveal who Peter Parker is. But no, yeah, I think it's nice that they brought J.K. Simmons back.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like it too. Anything else, gents?
It was an entertaining film. It was a good film. I enjoyed time watching it. Again, I stayed awake throughout the whole film. I was nodded off in the beginning, but once the midway point, once you know what, like when it was revealed it was illusions, I think that's when
You woke up.
I woke up and I started having more fun. Cause again,
before
because
then, it was a little
it was a little
meandering a little bit, did it feel
yeah.
like? Yeah.
And then also Beckett, just his whole like places people like I don't know
Beckett,
like,
Lord Cutler
like,
Beckett.
yes. I don't know. I think that's just a fun angle for a villain.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And his object isn't world domination. It's just I'm an egotistical maniac and I want people to adore me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pretend to be a superhero, but in doing so, I'll cause a lot of collateral damage and death to people, but I don't care because so it's like I like that. I wish they would have gone further with it, done more with it, gotten more scenes with him. Um, take away all the Stark shit because it's like they've done it way too much now. But
But
yeah,
he's dead.
he's dead. Oh well. Although the end credit scene, I did like it because it's like classic, like it felt like the cliffhanger to the Spider-Man cartoon.
Cartoons, yeah.
Yeah, like it felt like that. So I was like, oh, that's fun. I like that.
It was hilarious, like the way his eyes
Like
widened.
no.
He's like, "What? No!"
Tune in next week.
And he's right there in front of a bunch of people too, so he's like in the worst possible position. Um, but yeah, I wound up liking it more than you guys.
Surprise.
But that's okay. That's usually the same feel.
I think overall we liked it, right?
Yeah, I really liked it. I think you liked it a little bit worse.
Liked it worse? What
No,
are you saying?
I liked it worse. It's late, guys. I think you liked it least.
I don't know about
Alexis?
that. I don't know about that.
I didn't love the movie,
No.
so that's
Let me put it this way. Over time, he'll probably grow to like it more.
Yeah.
And I'll probably grow to like it less.
probably.
That's probably gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's already happened with pretty much every other movie that happened this year. So,
like what else?
indeed.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been our
Okay,
After
we'll tell
Dark. Check out our podcast
Just so you can bash
everywhere.
in front of me.
And then check out what's going on in Red Spotlight Entertainment. Check out what's going on in the Fantasy Fair. You know, one big old stuff. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bed. Bye.